All right, we're gonna be now putting in a hose bib out here. So we can basically, whenever we're doing stuff out here, we need water, which is not uncommon because we often burn stuff right over there. It's handy to be able to have a hose nearby. So we're gonna install this here and connect it in to the irrigation line. So we're going off a supply line. In a previous video, when I showed what we're doing with the irrigation here, I showed that we already put in this T to be able to run a line off of it. So we're gonna run a line and, well, let me just show you exactly what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna need a section of tubing about 16 inches long. I'm gonna go get a piece. Okay, so this is gonna connect to here, and I obviously cut off more than I needed, but I prefer have too much over too little. So on the other end though, it's gonna connect to this galvanized steel. I'm gonna actually go ahead and just put that in there now, and then we'll put a crimp ring on it to hold it in place. So close. It is the right size. There we go. Got it in the end. Now we are gonna have to tap that a bit. This is where it'll be easier to hold this still and to shake this on. So to make that easier, I'm gonna go ahead and build out the rest of this. So this will screw onto there. I'm gonna go ahead and put some thread tape on just to help seal it. Okay. Now what's going on here is I'm going to a 90-degree bend. That's gonna turn upward like this. And then, as you can see, I've got a bushing reducer. That's gonna go to a 3/4 inch galvanized pipe, and that's what's gonna stick out of the ground for our hose. Okay, turning that. Now, we'll see if my dad's 10-inch pipe wrench is big enough. I left mine at home. See if that gets me any real benefit. Some. Yeah, that worked. All right. Okay. Now for this bushing reducer, same thing. Help the thread seal. Although the metal's just gonna tear this stuff up. Still helps. Okay, that's gonna go in here. I'm not gonna worry about cranking that because when I put the pipe on and I crank on the pipe, it's gonna crank on this too. And then until they're both at about the same tightness. So it's kind of nice how that works. Set aside our valve there. This is all really fairly simple to do. There's so much that you can do that a lot of people just outsource to other people because they just don't know. But you know, there's a lot of stuff I learned from working for a plumber, but that was like 2 summers. I mean, there's a ton about plumbing I've had to look up in the years since then. But you can find so much online. Obviously, you're watching this YouTube video, so I'm preaching to the choir here. Okay, so watch this. As I turn this, see, it's turning both. Get that a little tighter. There we go. It's turning that bushing too. So that's why I didn't really need to crank in that bushing by itself. I just go until they're both tight. There we go. All right, now they've got this cap on here to protect the threads. Go ahead and, you know, I'll leave it for now, because now that I have more to hold on to here, now I can kind of wiggle this on better. See, much easier. We'll get it all the way up there. And what do I always say? Put on the crimp ring first. Well, I thought about it and I knew that I would be safe. so I didn't worry about it at the time. Oh, there we go. I had my crimp rings handy. Okay. One there. Crimp that down. That's on. Okay, next, I'm gonna measure. Here's how you measure in the field. You put this right where you want it. And I know I need to go till these nubs, right? So I know the base of this, I want right there, right up against, there's a piece of concrete here for the post. And I want it to go to there. So I'll often do this, I'll use like the numbers. So there's a number 5 printed on there right where I need to cut. So I'll cut right on the number 5. Or you can just cut it right in place down there. Okay. This time, I absolutely do need to put on the crimp ring first. Where'd it go? Oh, it just fell there. Okay, crimp ring. Now, this should be able to kind of twist a little bit. There we go. We'll just wiggle it back and forth until it's where we want it. And then twist it upward till it's right where how we want it. Later, I'll put a block here up against this post, and then I can attach this to that block, and then it'll be really well positioned. But for now, I want it pretty vertical. Okay, put that there, crimp it. Okay, put some dirt back in here. Really, I'm done here. I can start filling in, which is nice. But I'll just go get some good dirt. Now from out there, it's easier to see that this isn't quite level. So I'm gonna kind of hold it over here while I fill in some of this dirt. And then once again, we'll use we'll put in a backing board right there, just a block between here that I can screw it back to with a bracket. Tamp that down a bit. I'll be filling all this in the next few minutes. Okay, next, I do want this cap off now. Put that over there with the rest of my trash. That's ugly. Okay, come on, we want this straight. Without going over the top. Okay. Okay, now at this point, it's always a question, can I get one more rotation in? I think with my pipe wrench here, I'm hoping the answer is yes. Yeah. And then we'll come straight out forward and make sure that's closed. Okay, tamp that down again. We're gonna call that done enough for now until I can get that block in there, and that will make it done. All right, so I wasn't gonna worry about this, but Jake kind of talked me into it. Basically, from the beginning, the way that this system worked was he had all this PVC pipe, my dad did, and then this hose bib right here, my dad would hook it up with a hose from a hose spigot over there that's fed by the well. We don't need that anymore, but I went ahead and I attached this into one of those 1 1/4 inch supply lines we have. And there's two cool uses for that. One, now we have a hose bib right here that's at the front of the garden, far from the other one, that can be fed from the pressurized irrigation instead of from the well. But the other cool thing is that if we want to be able to water our garden and the pressurized irrigation's not running for us, we can go back to hooking up the well with a hose and feed this whole system from our own well, which I love. So it serves that double value, and water can go both ways. So once again, the main message behind this entire project is make preparedness, make self-reliance as easy and as automatic as possible. If having a garden is a pain because you have to drag hoses around, put in a hose bib. If you have access to water out there, just do it. If you do the work right up front, put in that investment, it's going to make it so you actually do the things that you plan to do. So if you're not gonna do them, there's no point anyway. So put in the investment, and that way you'll actually do them. Anyway, there's a whole big project going on here. We're putting in a bunch of automated watering here for the garden at my parents' house. It's huge, and so I hope you'll check out the other videos in this project series, and we'll see you there.